Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today we have my top 30 NFL wide receivers. So I've already done quarterbacks and running backs. Now it's time for receivers, and I will do tight ends in the near future. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that when that comes out. But my top 30 wide receivers, coming in at number 30 is Darnell Mooney. So he had a breakout season last year, and he established himself as Justin Fields' favorite target in the passing game. And I think his connection with Justin Fields is only going to continue to grow. But he's in a bad situation with the Bears. And, I really don't know how productive he's going to be because Justin Fields is not going to have any time to get the ball out. Number 29 is Hunter Renfrow. So he had a breakout season last year. I don't think he's going to replicate what he did last season because he's probably going to be the third option in the passing game behind Darren Waller and Devontae Adams. But now, my thing with Hunter Renfrow is I think a lot of people are too high on him. Like, is he a good wide receiver? Yes, but he's not, like, top 15, top 20. Number 29 is Robert Woods. 28 is Robert Woods. He's coming off a torn ACL, and he's a little bit lower than he would be if he wasn't coming off a serious injury. But he could still be a reliable receiver on any team. 27 is Devontae Smith. So he had a good rookie season, but he was overshadowed by fellow rookies Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle. But he had over 900 yards and 5 touchdowns last season, and he could still definitely be a really good receiver. So right now he comes in at number 27. 26 is Hollywood Brown, now a member of the Arizona Cardinals. So he had a strong bounce-back season last year where he posted over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. And he also reunites with former college teammate Kyler Murray in Arizona, and he comes in at number 26. 25 is Deontay Johnson. So he has struggled with drops, but he's been able to overcome that and become a good wide receiver in Pittsburgh, and he's coming off a 1,000-yard season. 24 is Allen Robinson. So he had a very disappointing season last year, but now he's getting a massive quarterback upgrade and a change of scenery. So I expect him to be a great wide receiver too for the Rams. And I think he's going to sort of be used in the way OBJ was and also Robert Woods was before Robert Woods got hurt. 23 is Mike Williams. So he's a big, reliable red zone target, also a deep threat for Justin Herbert, and he's a great red zone presence as he's had at least 5 touchdowns in 3 of his 5 seasons. 22 is Tyler Lockett. So he's much like Mike Williams in the fact that he's a reliable deep threat, but he's a lot smaller than Mike Williams. Tyler Lockett is another example of someone who's consistent and dependable. He's never had under 500 yards in his career. Also has had 1,000 yards in each of his past 3 seasons. 21 is Chris Godwin. So he's coming off a torn ACL and might miss some time this season. We really don't know. He's a great number 2 wide receiver for the Buccaneers, and he could potentially be a number 1 wide receiver for a whole bunch of teams. And even though he missed a whole bunch of time last year, I think he missed just under half the season, he was still able to hit 1,000 yards. Number 20 is T. Higgins. So he's an underrated and dependable wide receiver. He put up over 1,000 yards last season alongside Jamar Chase, who also had over 1,000 yards. And T. Higgins could be a number 1 wide receiver for a lot of offenses. But he just happens to be on a team where they've got a top 10 wide receiver, Jamar Chase, who we'll get to in a few minutes. 19 is Jalen Waddle. So he's a fast, explosive wide receiver who's coming off a great rookie season. He set the record for most receptions by a rookie with 104. Also had 1,015 yards and 6 touchdowns. 18 is Michael Thomas. So he hasn't played in a really long time. He would be near the top of my list, definitely near the top 10. If he were healthy, because he had over 90 catches and over 1,000 yards in all 5 of his full seasons in the NFL. 17 is Amari Cooper. So he's going from Dallas to Cleveland. He's an exceptional route runner, and he's also a great wide receiver, and he's had over 1,000 yards in 4 of his 8 seasons. 16 is Michael Pittman. So he had a good season last year with Carson Wentz, putting up 1,082 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think he could potentially take a step up with a quarterback upgrade, but right now he comes in at 16. 15 is Brandon Cooks. So he plays for the Texans, and even though they're a bad team right now, Brandon Cooks is always the same player no matter what team he's on. He could be on a good team, he could be on a terrible team. He's always going to be the same player. He's always going to be consistent, reliable, and he's going to do what you need him to do, as in his 8 seasons in the NFL, he's put up over 1,000 yards in 6 of them. Number 14 is DJ Moore. He's very underrated, and a lot like Brandon Cooks, he's going to do what you need, and he's put up over 1,000 yards each of the past 3 seasons. 13 is Terry McLaurin, another guy like the previous 2. It doesn't matter who his quarterback is, he's going to hit 1,000 yards. As he's been in the league for 3 seasons, and all 3 seasons he's had at least 900 yards. Number 12 is Keenan Allen. So he's a little different than the previous 2, as he's a reliable target, but he's more of the guy that's going to get you a ton of catches. He's also going to hit 1,000 yards just because he catches the ball so often. And he's had 1,000 yards in 5 of his 9 seasons in the NFL. 11 is DK Metcalf. So he's a big physical wide receiver, touchdown machine, and he's had at least 900 yards and 7 touchdowns in all of his seasons in the NFL. Number 10 is Mike Evans. So he's as reliable as wide receivers come. He's had 1,000 yards every season he's been in the league, or 8 seasons in a row, and is also a good red zone target as he usually has several touchdown catches each season. Number 9 is A.J. Brown, now a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. He has had trouble staying healthy, but even though he's not really played a full season, he's never really missed too many games in the because he's always had, or in 2 of his 3 seasons in the NFL, he's hit over 1,000 yards. So even with his injury concerns, he's not going to miss a ton of time, and he's still productive, even though he's going to miss a few games a season. 8 is DeAndre Hopkins. So he's going to miss some time this season as he was suspended the first 6 games of the season. He's coming off his worst season in his NFL career, but he did have a knee injury that cost him 7 games, and he's had over 1,000 yards in 6 of his 9 seasons. Number 7 is Deebo Samuel. So he had a huge breakout season last year, where he had over 1,400 receiving yards and also had 365 rushing yards, and combined for 14 total touchdowns. And he had a huge breakout and showed us what he could do when he's healthy, as before last year he'd struggled to stay healthy. But Deebo at number 7. Number 6 is Jamar Chase. So he'd only been in the league for 1 year, and that was last year, but he had a monster season last year. He set rookie receiving records, and he didn't need the extra 17th game to do so. But overall on the season, he had 1,455 yards and 13 touchdowns. Number 5 is Stephon Diggs. So he's had over 1,000 yards each of his last 4 seasons, and also at least 6 touchdowns in those 4 seasons. Plus, he's very reliable, especially when he's the top wide receiver in the offense, and he comes in at number 5. Number 4 is one of the fastest players in the NFL, and that is Tyreek Hill. So he's a really good receiver, and some people say he's only good because he's fast, but that's really not the case, because if that was, then John Ross would still be a relevant wide receiver in the NFL. So Tyreek Hill comes in at number 4. Number 3 is Justin Jefferson. So he's got off to a tremendous start in his NFL career, surpassing 1,000 yards each of his first 2 seasons in the league, and he's actually never had under 1,400 yards in a season. Number 2 is Cooper Kupp. So he's coming off a great season where he had almost 2,000 receiving yards and won the Triple Crown with 145 catches, 1,947 yards, and 16 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to be able to do that again, but I expect another good season from Cooper Kupp. And number 1 is Devontae Adams. So he's going to be playing without Aaron Rodgers for the first time in his NFL career. He's very consistent. He's had at least 995 yards in 4 of his last 5 seasons. And I think he's still the best wide receiver in football. And now he gets to go to Las Vegas to play with his former college teammate, Derek Carr. So those are my top 30 NFL wide receivers. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you agree with my rankings, disagree, and why. If there's someone that should be higher or lower, let me know in the comments below. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.